You're listening to WSTU Stewart.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
Well, a very pleasant good evening. Time for Startup Talk from Indian River State College with Mr. Tom Kindred.
Thank you, sir, and welcome to another segment and installment of Startup Talk, the show designed to assist and help Treasure and Research Coast residents who want to start, grow, or accelerate their business. And as I always say, what a great place it is to own and operate a business along the beautiful Research and Treasure Coast. We will spend time during our hour together this evening to highlight and create awareness regarding the very powerful and robust business assistance and support programs which exist right here in our community at our very own Indian River State College. I am Tom Kindred, and I am the Regional Director for the Small Business Development Center at Indian River State College. Our show tonight, as always, is powered by the SBDC at IRSC and our friends at Express Printing of Port St. Lucie. So, Greg, how are you this evening?
Doing well. Tracking the ladies volleyball team.
Nice. All right. I'm ready. Pioneer Sports Update.
Yeah, they were down 5-6 in the preseason, but they were playing some really, really great teams. And the interesting thing, looking at all these scores, they weren't blown out of any matches. It was wild. And they started the league play a couple days ago against Miami-Dade. Dade came back and nipped them, so they're 0-1 in the league. Of course, they play in the Southern Conference, which they won.
Last year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so they've got Eastern Florida and Broward College next.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when is the next game? When's the next home game?
That is a good question.
Okay. Well, I just enjoy going and watching the volleyball. I mean, it's impressive stuff. And again, Southern Conference champions, so defending champions.
Yep.
So, and as I always tell folks too, I mean, it really is. IRSC does give local folks an opportunity to come out and enjoy some collegiate level sports. It is good stuff. You get a chance to really enjoy the sports, and normally it is free to get into these sporting events.
And you can come by and see Coach Charlie Wilson's new assistant coach.
Yes,
she's 2.
She's 2. Was he bring the baby along with him?
He's been bringing her to the office. I love the pictures. They're great. Yeah. So I was kidding him. Does she get a stipend? Coaching stipend.
Okay.
Oh my. Yeah. Basketball right around the corner for us.
Yeah. Tonight again, I want to talk about. We got a great guest. She's almost. We can probably now refer to Derry as a regular here.
She is a regular.
She's a regular.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Derry has been on a number of times, but there's an important reason why Derry's been on a number of times, because Derry and her company, Exact Healthcare Solutions, partners with us at the Corporate and Community Training Institute at Indian River State College. Derry provides instruction in the field of medical coding and billing. Very successful courses for us. A lot of folks going through these programs, getting good jobs, and increasing and enhancing their skill set. I guess the first time Derry came on, all the talk was about having to take folks from ICD 9, I believe, Derry. That's right. And then we had to get everyone up to the ICD 10. So now it's really about growing the industry and filling a lot of jobs that are available out there in the medical coding and billing field. So with that, Derry Bonner is here with us tonight. Welcome again to the show, Derry.
How you doing, Tom?
So first, let me just take just a minute and update all of you.
Before you get to that,
okay,
we do have to welcome you on WPSL TV.
What?
This is your first time on our new WPSL TV.
Derry, you're not wanted for anything in the other states, are you?
So I'll just plead the fifth when I have to.
You're just like those guys on Capitol Hill. Huh?
I thought I could escape all this TV. I was hiding out here at WPSL, just doing a little radio show.
Not
now
anymore.
You're taking us global, Greg.
That's right, YouTube. Yep, on demand. So just think about this.
Yes.
You know, all of your relatives can sit back and watch whenever they want.
Gosh, I don't know about that. you may lose some YouTube viewers, Greg. If well, that is exciting news, Greg. You have been working on WPSL TV for a while. I think
Yes.
ever since we started the radio show.
Well,
So
and you guys at the SBDC have been involved in it. So, yeah.
well, that's good.
For what,
So,
2 years? Yeah.
So now, I guess, Greg, tell me, give me just the quick 1-minute version. After tonight's show, someone could go where and watch us?
It will be on WPSLTV.com. And then just click the button there, and it'll direct you to YouTube, and you're good to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, now you know what's going to happen, Greg. All the previous 60 guests, I think this is episode 61 of Startup Talk. So all the previous
But
60
who's
guests.
counting?
That's right. But also all my previous 60 guests are going to come back on now. They're going to say they didn't get a shot at TV.
There you go.
Oh, we got to start all over.
That's right. You're going to be the kingmaker on campus.
Yeah, sure. All right.
And speaking of
Yes.
the number one on campus,
Yeah.
Dr. Ed Massey,
Yeah.
will be a guest.
Yeah. Well, we that's right. We're
Yep.
he's
He's coming.
he's coming. He's
Yep.
coming. We're having to work out contracts and negotiations and but yes, I believe that
Mileage.
that's right, mileage, all kinds of things we got to work out. But I do believe that shortly, Dr. Massey, there's been some exciting and big things happen on campus. So I didn't want to. I certainly don't want to make those announcements. So we asked Dr. Massey if he'd like to come on and talk about a few things. So he said absolutely. So yes, Dr. Massey will be a guest here with us
Very
on
cool.
Startup Talk
Yep.
very shortly. So with that, real quickly, let me just go through and update you very quickly on a couple of great upcoming programs, one of which is medical coding, but I may let Derry talk about that real quick. But we've got on September the 21st at the main campus right there in the Brown Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, 8:30 in the morning till 12:30, we've got Writing the Proposal, Advanced Grant Writing, with a great instructor, Miss Terry Penny, teaches that class for us. People have been asking, so we've responded. This advanced grant writing course will go beyond the basics covered in Grant Writing for Beginners course and cover a much more in-depth variety of topics. If you have already taken the basic grant writing class and looking to increase your knowledge, skills, and proficiency in the world of grant writing, do not miss this class. It is a great class. Hands-on instruction in locating grants, government grants, determining your eligibility for those grants, creating a letter of intent, using research data. So it's going to be a great course. That is, again, September the 21st at the main campus from 8:30 till 12:30. Advanced Grant Writing. Great course. We've also got our continuing offering of social media classes. Again, Derry, you're in business. Is social media important to you and to Exact Healthcare Solutions?
Critical.
Yep. So, again, that's why we always have a regular run of our social media classes. So we've got Introduction to Internet Marketing and Customer Engagement through Social Media. That will be held again on the main campus at the Brown Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship on September the 22nd from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. This course will teach you the tools to market yourself online. Learn how to reach your target market online, establish a content strategy to effectively communicate and utilize not only social media, but blogging, YouTube, Google Places, and your website to establish relationships with your customers and prospects. So again, Introduction to Internet Marketing, that is on September the 22nd on main campus from 9 to 12. And finally, great course brought to you by the SBDC and our partners at SCORE, Business Law for Small Business Owners. That will take place on September the 23rd over at the Okeechobee Chamber of Commerce, trying to do a few more courses over in the Okeechobee Marketplace. That'll take place at the Okeechobee Chamber of Commerce from 12 to 2 in the afternoon. The workshop does not attempt to make you an attorney, thank goodness. We got plenty of those. But rather to help you understand your rights and responsibilities and to explain how things work and should work in the areas of legal structures, copyrights, trademarks, patents, commercial leases for your rental space, business licenses, business regulations, so forth and so on. So great class, again, brought to you by SCORE and SBDC, Business Law for Small Owners. That is September the 23rd from 12 to 2 in Okeechobee.
Should I cancel the appointment for the legal group that
Yeah.
sponsor this show?
Yeah. There's a legal group that sponsors this show? Can't believe they'd take that kind of risk. They probably would know better. So, again, as always, one of the most important things I want to say about our classes is that the majority of those courses and workshops offered, especially the ones brought to you by the SBDC and SCORE, are always provided at no cost, never a charge to attend those courses. I always tell folks that back when I was in business, if I had taken the time to really understand and become involved and participate in the programs that are offered here at the college, the SBDC, the CCTI, and take advantage of all this, I am confident I could have been a better manager, owner, and operator. I always say Dr. Massey and the Board of Trustees here at IRSC have done an incredible job of building what I like to refer to as a very powerful one-stop shop for business assistance and training. As always, want to thank the SBDC and the consultants that do so much good work in our community with the local business folks and also our partners at SCORE. So, and you can always get more information on all of those offerings and everything we've got coming up. You can always check us out at the irscbiz.com. That's irscbiz.com. And you can get the latest and the greatest on what is going on in all the business programs at the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship
And you
Development
have
Institute.
a new SBDC office, is that correct, on the Pruitt campus?
We do. We have a consultant now that is situated and housed at the Pruitt campus. We have a CCTI rep that is housed and hosted down at the Pruitt campus. We've got a fast track to manufacturing rep down there. And SCORE is actually going to share some office space with us. So really created a very nice enterprise hub where it really is truly a one-stop shop. You can, and the EDC is our suite mate down there too. So all the business assistance resource programs are put into one building, and I'm sure that when Dr. Massey comes on with us, he'll probably have a few things to say about that. We are getting ready to probably turn the switch on that too. We've got everybody moved in and phones up and working and computers now, so we're very close to kind of making the big announcement on that too. So
Boy, the synergy is just absolutely amazing
Yep.
with IRC.
Yep. And that's what's just what a great collaborative effort down there in that building, and what's so nice is now we can kind of leverage the different skill sets of the different groups. So you really won't leave that building without an answer to a business question. Everybody's there. So it really an interesting and powerful setup down there. So with that, I will re-welcome our guest again, Mrs. Derry Bonner of Exact Healthcare Solutions. Derry, how are you this evening?
I'm fine. How are you, Tom?
Great. So again, Derry, time flies. So it seems like you were just on 2 weeks ago, but I know it wasn't 2 weeks ago. But medical coding, this medical coding and billing thing really has become a very popular topic. There's we seem to fill the classes every time we run these things, and it seems like folks are getting employed. Now I'm sure a lot of the folks in the class may already be in the field, and they're enhancing their skill set or getting new updated certifications through the program. But beyond that, it really is a very popular field right now, is it not?
It is. There's been so many changes, and the one constant within the healthcare industry right now is change. There's no doubt that right when you think you learned something new comes out. There's so many more opportunities even than when we were together last year, actually. in talking about those opportunities.
So let's start real quickly. Give us just a little background on yourself, because it's a very interesting path you took to get involved in all this. So how did it all start for you in the medical coding field?
Well, I worked in the healthcare industry. I actually started as a checkout clerk in a doctor's office, and moved up into billing and a lot of these different areas that we talk about. I worked at the hospital, one of the local hospitals, for quite some time, and then got into national work with some consulting firms on a national level. And in 2008, came back home and wanted to try to provide opportunities for people in the community in a number of different ways, through CEU courses, through training courses, through consulting work for individual physician practices and hospitals. We see on a national level everybody has the same problems, and when new things come out, it's very, very difficult to get a simplistic information on how to get through those things. They kind of pop out of nowhere, it seems like. So we started a business that basically goes through process reviews for providers and training programs and contract coding and auditing we also do on a national level.
So once you got involved in all this and you came back, you actually created a company,
Yes.
which is Exact Healthcare Solutions.
We did.
Okay. How long have you had the business?
For 8 years, I always laugh about the fact the year that I decided to come out and start my own business was 2008, when it seemed like the economy was taking a nosedive.
Oh, yeah, that's right, 2008. That would be the same year I started a business too.
The good thing is though, with
And it
all
wasn't
the
medical
changes that
coding
started
either.
working,
It wasn't
yeah.
quite. I wasn't quite that smart. Right. Yeah. Yes. So 2008. Well, you know what? Anyone who started a business in 2008, if they're still around today, they learned some great lessons. So it probably did you learn some lessons through your 2008 2009 year?
I learned a lot of lessons, but I have to tell you that part of my lessons were going to the Small Business Development Center.
Oh,
at
that's
IRC,
right. That's
To be
right.
quite frank with you,
You
and
were
how to build
you
a
were
business.
a client at
Absolutely.
one time. That's
Absolutely.
nice. Yeah, I forgot
And that's
about
how
that.
I got to know the corporate
That's how you got to know the
Community Training
CCTI.
Institute.
Right.
and
Okay.
it got referred to you all, and here we are.
My gosh!
My
Wow!
multiple appearances now.
Wow. That's it. You know what? We need to go celebrate that.
Yes, we
that
do.
milestone tonight, Derry. Yeah, I had forgotten about that. You're right. You did engage with the SBDC as you started Exact Healthcare and grew the business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure did.
All right. So again, in fact, I was going to ask you that question about SBDC, but you just answered it. So tell us, what is medical coding? This whole medical coding thing, you've explained it to me a number of times, and I think after a couple of times you've got me clear on it. But there is some differentiation between coding and billing. You actually instruct in both areas, but talk to us a little bit about the coding field. What is the field all about? What is billing all about? What are the jobs that are available in this field?
Well, the medical coding industry is multifaceted itself. It's not just one area. You have medical coding is actually just taking words of physicians' medical record documentation and turning it into numbers so that insurance companies, data collectors, even the World Health Organization is able to have a standardized system to be able to track disease processes, procedures that are performed on patients. We can't do it from words. We have to do it from a consistent numeric system that everybody uses so that our data is consistent and accurate. So it's really, we make a really simple definition. We say it's turning words, physician words, or non-physician practitioners, hospitals, into numbers so that everybody knows what you're doing without having to have a whole line of auditors outside of your door just doing your medical records, from scratch and looking at them from scratch. It's really the only way to communicate.
Say a doctor in Africa or London or someplace like that would be able to read the same charts.
For the diagnosis coding, it is a world system. The procedural coding is strictly the United States. So it depends on what coding system you're talking about. There's multiple ones, but the ICD-10 that we had talked about last year, that system is the World Health Organization. It's kind of like the United Nations, and everybody uses that coding system, the diagnosis coding system, because we're tracking disease processes all over the world, not just in the United States.
Right. And all of this, I guess coding's always been around, I'm assuming, but the Affordable Health Care Act, did that kind of accelerate all this? Was that really the pinch point that really brought all this kind of to the forefront, or?
You're right. Coding has been around for a long time, but there's been a lot of changes over the years, even before the Affordable Care Act. But what the Affordable Care Act has done is it's tried to standardize based on, with so many more people getting insured. Our problems today and why there's so many opportunities in coding is, number one, we didn't have electronic medical records until they were mandated through the Affordable Care Act. New coding systems came out because of the Affordable Care Act, systems that hadn't changed for 38 years. There's a lot of really big upgrades. Electronic claim submission for billing actually came out as a result of the Affordable Care Act. So the opportunities are growing, and when we talk about the conference that we're going to be putting on next week, there's another huge change based on the Affordable Care Act for our payment systems in the future. So it has brought a new recognition. With some of these coding changes, actually, there was we always talk about the fact that when I first started in this career, outpatient wasn't a really big coding area.
Right.
It was all inpatient.
Right.
And unfortunately, those of us that were trying to climb the ladder were not able to do so because inpatient coders got paid well. They've been paid well for a long time. So we used to say they retired or they passed on into the next life before they would leave their jobs.
Right.
So it made it very difficult for outpatient people who didn't have that recognition some time ago. So now the recognition is in all areas. Inpatient coding is very different than outpatient coding. But, with outpatient being primarily the services that you get now, we don't admit patients as often as we used to.
But you had mentioned very early on in one of your visits that the U.S., well, you just mentioned had no changes in 38 years, was way behind the rest of the world.
They were, as far as the upgrade to the diagnosis coding system and that side of it. When we had talked before, we talked about the fact that before the United States in 2013, we actually adopted that new system. The last country to adopt it was Canada, which was in 2002. So the Affordable Care Act made it law. That's why we hadn't passed it before.
Well, talk just a minute too about, as we talk about the efficiencies and the technologies. I was just in a doctor's office the other day, and of course, now the doctor comes in with the iPad, and have the technologies and has the advancement in efficiencies, has it benefited patient engagement and patient care? I mean, are we sort of getting some benefit out of all these changes?
Well, I think if you talk to people in the healthcare industry, it's gotten very difficult. There are very, very complex rules. The regulations are much, much more difficult on practices as well as hospitals. But as far as, we can read their writing now, if that makes a difference. I think we never used to be able to read writing. Of course, the person that worked in the office could read the writing. It was amazing. Right. We'd go, what does that say? And it was a scribble to us, and the person in the office would go, oh, this is exactly what it said, and they could just quote the whole thing. But where it's made it difficult, the interaction with the patient and the physician has become more cumbersome because of the amount of data, and that's about to get much more cumbersome because the amount of data that now is required for tracking purposes and the new things that are coming out next year actually are requiring us to do a lot more data entry, not necessarily good data, right, unfortunately, but we're trying to standardize and even from, I'm not always I'm a champion for provider practices and healthcare systems because a lot of people don't really know what happens behind the scenes. But on the other side, I also understand the regulatory agencies that are just trying to do something to make it as standard as possible. It's not now, but there are some changes that are coming that I think that those things are going to kind of balance out. We have to remember doctors never used electronic medical records. Kind of like trying to get our great-great-grandparents to use a cell phone.
That's just no. I don't have to go back that far. Just my father.
Yeah.
Getting
my
my
husband,
father.
So I'm not going even as back as far as you. There's some people it's very difficult, especially providers.
So talk to us about now careers.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us just what's available for someone who gets involved in the medical coding field.
Well, there are opportunities in doctors' offices. More doctors are now taking medical coders into their practices. It used to be where it was just billers, but they were doing billing. They weren't doing coding. And because of this new coding system that came out, more doctors are hiring certified coders. You don't have to be certified to be a biller. You do have to be certified to be a coder. You cannot just go code.
Right.
So we're seeing those changes, which are positive changes, because that means the data is more accurate. Asking doctors to code, which is they're the ones that have been responsible for a lot of the coding, is like asking me to do surgery because I know how to assign the code to the words.
Right.
So there's those opportunities in doctors' offices. There's opportunities in hospital settings, home health. A lot of people don't look at the fact that it's not just hospitals, it's home health agencies, it's home visits even, skilled nursing facilities, diagnostic centers, ambulatory surgery centers, and not just in the medical coding arena. If you learn how to code, you really have a foot into billing. You potentially, while they're very different, and you would have to, go and get into billing to understand it, you can't just take a coding class. But then there's auditing professions. Y'all were talking about lawyers earlier. I got to tell you, coders are getting hired left and right by attorneys now to be expert witnesses in courts of law, and this has been happening for a couple of years, but everybody sees the need for it. The Affordable Care Act also gave other opportunities like quality coding, it's called HCC, hierarchical condition coding, which is quality coding, where insurance companies basically have you now audit charts and assign the right codes, not based on bills that are generated, but based on the actual documentation to show the true picture of the patient.
Wow.
So there are a lot of opportunities that weren't available before where you can move into other areas.
So have you ever been an expert witness in a case?
I almost got to court, but we've done the audits before, but I have not been called. They usually settle. So that's a good thing about coders is they usually settle when they see that you've got the experts that can answer to it.
Okay, with that, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with more Startup Talk and Derry Bonner from Exact Healthcare Solutions. Stay tuned.
Investing in employee training is an investment that pays. Bob O'Brien here from Indian River State College's Corporate and Community Training Institute. The CCTI at IRSC is the region's premier provider of professional development training. A business's most important resource, its employees, and training those employees has fast become the most important factor in business today because training improves the performance and effectiveness of both the employee and the organization. Training offers employees the opportunity to acquire new skills, provide better customer service, and increase productivity. CCTI training is offered online as open enrollment, or we can develop a customized training program designed specifically for your organization. Contact the CCTI at IRSC today and let us help you develop your most important resource, your employees.
For more information on this and other business training opportunities, call 462-7630. That's 462-7630. Or visit irscbiz.com.
Express Printing in Port St. Lucie is proud to present Startup Talk from Indian River State College. You see Express Printing in its new US 1 location in the Chris Plaza, just south of the Boulevard across from Walmart, is the one-stop shop for entrepreneurs throughout the Treasure Coast. Whether you're starting a business or building one, Express Printing can offer insight on how to separate you from your competition. Let Express Printing help you rebrand your business as well. The backbone of America is its entrepreneurial spirit, shared by Express Printing and Indian River State College. Express Printing in a newer and larger facility to assist entrepreneurs. Express Printing, 878-7975. That's 878-7975. Express Printing. Look for the red sign that says, "We come to you."
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
You're listening to WSTU Stewart.
And we are back. This is Startup Talk from the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute right here at Indian River State College. Tonight's guest, we call her a regular, but we love having Derry Bonner come into the studio and talk about a very popular program, a very now popular career taking place all around the country, and that is medical coding and billing. So before we took the break, you were kind of telling us the opportunities out there for folks to find employment in this field. And this is, I saw the other day, and in fact, of course, I should have brought those stats, but entry-level pay in this field is somewhere upwards of, if I remember correctly, about upwards of $13, $14 an hour. Mid-level pay is in the area, I believe, of about 17, and experienced pay was over $20 an hour. Is that about right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And depending on what area you get into, the experience pay can be advanced from that, far advanced. Consulting, we don't have to say that that's an opportunity. We've had, just to kind of answer your we have some success stories from some people that have taken the class, actually, that worked in doctor's offices that now work for some of the really big major national firms. And it really only took them about a year or two after graduating our class to be able to get into those fields. And there's some opportunities where people are willing to train, because with the ICD-10, when it came out, there was a mass exodus, just like there were with doctors when Affordable Care came out and they didn't want to do EMRs. They just retired. The same thing happened with coders, and it's been very difficult to replace, especially on the inpatient side, the inpatient coders that left the industry. A lot of people are really trying to get those teams. We ourselves do a lot of national contracts, and it's difficult to find those inpatient coders because now they've had a mass exodus, and they haven't had that since the early 80s.
Now, by inpatient, are you talking hospitals?
Yes, inpatient hospital type services. Skilled nursing facilities would be the same thing. Anything where somebody gets basically admitted to an inpatient setting for any period of time.
And talk a little bit about some other opportunities. I've heard you say in the past that there are coders that work from home, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of those opportunities where you could maybe work as much as you want to, or work somewhat as little as you want to in this field. Is that a fair statement? Or
that is. We have actually we've brought some people on board ourselves from previous classes where they work in the industry, but they want to just work maybe 20 hours a week or 15 hours a week doing auditing on the side. During off hours, you can work on weekends and things like that. I think that it benefits a person that's just getting into it for the first time to experience working out in the field, maybe in a doctor's office or something like that. And for people that may be struggling with that, being in a new career, they call it all kinds of different things. So it don't necessarily just look like for a certified coder. A lot of times they'll say biller, and they really mean coder. Or they'll say, checkout clerk, or many other things. That
was my problem. I'd use the terms, synonymously, and they're not the same.
See, Tom, that's perfect for you.
Yeah, perfect
you
for
can
me.
Wear your fuzzy slippers around, just like you do in here.
That's right.
That's
right.
It's
great.
I know. Well, you can't now.
I can't now.
It's
those days are over.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to stay in
shoes.
Work clothes. I can't put my robe on right. So let me ask you now. You've got a couple of classes going on now, and I want to also touch on. You've been doing this now for a couple of years. We've been doing this through CCTI, and we really have created somewhat of we're on the beginnings of kind of creating a real institute that's focused on, coding and billing, and with our partnership with Exact Healthcare Solutions, someone can really start and find their way up 2 or 3 levels in this business, right? They can take the courses that we offer, the entry-level courses, to get that initial certification, and then you're now offering some advanced courses to get them further down the road in a career. Is that again,
and to
good
provide
description.
them, yes, it is, and to provide them with continuing education credits once they get certified.
Okay.
Those opportunities aren't available, and that's not just locally. Those opportunities are very difficult to find at a reasonable price on a national level.
Right.
We tend to get people certified, and then we kind of don't follow through.
Right.
With all these changes, like we said, the only constant in the healthcare industry, especially revenue cycle, is change. And there are other areas. We have really focused on the outpatient side, previously professional component, but we're going to be moving into some other areas and provide coding classes that will touch on inpatient coding to be able to get an inpatient certification. All these certifications are different. So you can't take an outpatient coding class and go take an inpatient certification exam.
Right.
They're very, very different coding systems even. Same thing with billing. You can start out in coding. The good thing is coding is the template. If you get nationally certified in coding, your opportunities are far, far better than if you start in accounts receivable or if you start in billing or if you start in one of those areas. Then you can really get into any area, because when people see you have coding experience, we get nurses in our classes, we get radiation technologists, we get people in other clinical areas, medical assistants, who just need to learn how to code. There's some new payment systems and models that are coming out in the near future, next year, actually, and the data has to be right. And multiple people enter data. So it's not just the coders, but the people that do the records.
And I think it's worth noting, too, that this coding and billing, I guess for that matter, these are critical functions in a doctor's office. These are the technicians that are recovering the pay. This is the revenue stream for a doctor's office.
That's right.
So this is critical to a doctor's office. So they're not just going to leave this to chance.
No.
Oh, we think you can code. That's not going to be. They're going to go hire someone who is certified in coding.
Right.
They're not going to play around with this
Right.
at the end of the day.
And before the new coding system came out October 1st that we were talking about earlier, that ICD-10 coding system, it was okay to take the biller who could also do everything else.
Right.
Now, and especially with the more changes that are coming in the next 5 years, they know you have to be accurate, because now in the future we're going to be comparing Dr. Smith with his next door neighbor physician, Dr. Jones, who both work in primary care, to see who has the highest risk patients and who has a lower risk patient pool, and what you get paid, or it's basically the equivalent of a fine. What you get taken away from you is based on that data being accurate. And doctors just don't understand the coding systems well enough. They get updated every year, these coding systems, 3 of them.
Okay. So real quickly before time gets away from me, we've got some coding classes coming up, correct? Give me the schedule. What's happening in terms of coursework?
Well, we have October 1st. We have a new class starting at the Fort Pierce campus. That's the outpatient professional services coding. And that's the one that we've been teaching for quite some time. But starting in January, we're actually going to have an inpatient coding course that we're going to start that's going to help inpatient coders be able to become certified. These are all prep courses to get you nationally certified. Not a certificate, nationally certified. You can't get a job in this industry without having a national certification. And you get a certificate too, which is double the fun. And then we're going to be doing billing classes and start to train people on how to get certified nationally from a billing perspective as well. What we're doing is we're splitting all of those courses. They're generally taught together, and it's very confusing when you get out there in the real world and you notice they're 2 completely separate roles. And even the difference between inpatient and outpatient. People that come from the industry that take our classes don't know that there's a difference between inpatient coding and outpatient coding. They don't do it. So they just learn nurses, doctors. It kind of answers a lot of questions for them why the hospital tells them one set of rules when they go there to practice, and in their office it's another whole set of rules.
And so typical class coursework, typically I think they're Saturday courses.
They are.
half a day, all day? How does
It's
the class structure?
9 to 1.
9 to
It's
1.
4 hours. Some people might think that seems like a long time, but you wouldn't believe how fast it goes.
That goes, yes.
And I have to tell you, if you could have fun in a coding class, we have fun in a coding class.
Sure you do, yes.
We do. We make coding fun. There's a good
I like
tagline.
that slogan.
We make coding fun.
We make coding
Wait a minute.
That's
CCTI.
good.
We make
Copyright
coding
We
that.
make
fun.
coding fun. Cutting edge and coding fun.
And how long? So how long do you go? Is it
We go about 12 weeks.
12 weeks?
And then incorporated in that, you can learn how to code and become a good coder, but a lot of people just don't take tests very well.
Right.
So part of the course at the end is to prepare you for any of the national certifications that you decide to take. We will do a review and show you how to take that specific exam so that you have an opportunity to do that. One other thing that's really, really unique with our classes, too, is the fact that we go over the homework every week with our students. So if you did get things wrong, you understand why you got them wrong. We don't have red pens. We use only black pens.
Yes, my wife's a math teacher. I see a lot in
Yeah,
sometimes.
I bet.
Yes. So on another subject, you're very passionate and very involved in a group that has, I think, what are you on your? Is this your third annual?
This is our fourth biannual. We do them
fourth. Okay.
in the spring and the fall.
And you are with a group called the Premier Business Alliance, and you are doing this is your fourth semi-annual Healthcare Education and Career Conference. Have I got that right?
You've got that correct.
And that will take place on Saturday, September the 24th from 8 to 3 p.m. at the Kite Center right there on the beautiful main campus of Indian River State College. So talk to us a little bit about the fourth semi-annual Healthcare Education and Career Conference.
The career conference, some of those changes we were talking to you about, which I have to say, nobody really knows what the rules are. Actually, the final rule hasn't even been written yet for the new payment systems that are coming out. They won't be written until November. But there's new payment systems that are coming out.
Before the election
yes.
or after the election? I'm sorry.
It's after the election. But the good news is all of it is based on data. And if we don't have our data correct, then you're not going to know what your risk is of losing money or gaining money. This new system is called MACRA, and I'm not going to go into what that stands for. I like acronyms myself. Everything's an acronym. But this new payment system actually the goal is to get rid of what we call in the physician environment the fee-for-service payment models. In other words, everything I do and everything I code, I get paid for. What they're trying to do is now they're trying to measure quality. The insurance companies on a national level, such as Medicare, Medicaid, those types of insurances, and they're trying to regulate what we do and pay us based on those regulations in the physician environment. That said, starting next year, they're going to collect data where they can actually reduce at the end of the year. Even if they pay us during the year, they can reduce or ask for money back based on your risk compared to the primary care doctor next door to you. So if our data isn't correct, you may look like you don't have patients that are as sick as the doctor next door. And so what is the risk to you for taking those patients? So again, it's all based on now they can take money away from you. They can give you a bonus at the end of the year. We've seen where the models, some national models we've looked at, hospitals that are 350, 400 beds, 3 to or even 2% to say 8% in 2027. Those percentages don't sound like a lot, but for some hospitals that we've measured, $2.5 million a year. And that's huge.
That's big money.
It's big money, too. You can't go by the percentage, and that's just based on bad data. Well, that means we need more coders, and that means we need expert coders. So next weekend, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about those new payment models. How do we prepare for them in the physician environment? What do they mean? We're going to define them for you. All of them are based on the new ICD-10 coding system that just came out October 1st of last year. So there's a lot to learn. This one shouldn't sneak up on us. It's very simplistic information that we're going to be providing.
So who's your textbook participant in the seminar? Who needs to be there?
Well, we have CEU credits that we provide for nurses, for medical assistants. We've gotten those in advance. Any clinical staff, it's going to be very beneficial. coders, billers, office managers. These new payment models are going to affect everybody. And I do want to say we have a special guest. I don't know if I should tell you this now and introduce
Spoil
who
it?
she is.
No.
That's going to be one of our guest speakers. We have somebody that's a local who actually started in the healthcare industry many years ago with me. And she's actually from Port St. Lucie, Florida, now is a vice president of a national company in the HIMSS environment, medical coding and documentation, and an absolutely outstanding speaker. Her name's Kathy Pride, and she lives right here in good old Port St. Lucie, Florida.
Okay, I think we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with more Startup Talk. Stay tuned.
Are you a veteran seeking a new career? 2 million manufacturing jobs go unfilled, according to a recent industry report. I am Derek Levelston, lead instructor for the Fast Track to Manufacturing program at Indian River State College. As a veteran myself, I know from experience how difficult the transition from military life to private industry can be. This short 6-week program serves as an excellent way to transfer your technical skills learned in the military to a career in manufacturing. Upon completion, veterans have the opportunity to earn a nationally recognized industry certification and have a direct link to local manufacturers and job opportunities. The program is fully approved for VA funding. Launch a career today in advanced manufacturing through IRSC's Fast Track to Manufacturing program.
CCTI and IRSC Fast Track to Manufacturing courses begin in October. For more information, call 462-7630 or visit irscbiz.com.
Looking for a rewarding career in medical billing and coding? Start here at Indian River State College's Corporate and Community Training Institute. Hi, I am Derry Bonner, CEO of Exact Healthcare Solutions and CCTI Medical Coding and Billing Instructor. In just 15 weeks, you can become a certified medical coder or biller and enter one of the fastest growing fields in the healthcare industry. As trained and certified professionals, medical coders and billers are highly valued members of the healthcare team. Experienced and expert instruction will provide students the skills needed for a job in this growing field. Students will learn CPT, ICD-10-CM, and HCPCS coding systems, allowing them to sit for national certification exams. Start a career today in the healthcare industry by becoming a certified medical coder or biller.
Courses begin October 1st. For more information on medical coding courses and other training opportunities, call 462-7630 or visit irscbiz.com.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
You're listening to WSTU Stewart.
And we are back. This is Startup Talk from the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute right here at Indian River State College. We've got with us our good friend and star instructor for the CCTI, Mrs. Derry Bonner, who instructs in the area of medical coding. I've had a great conversation tonight about medical coding, its importance. These medical coders, as I mentioned before we took the break, really are a key player on that team. They're very important, certainly from the business side of a healthcare provider's office.
It's how a provider gets paid.
Right.
They can't stay open without them.
Now, you've got, we talked a little bit about, you were talking to us about the Premier Business Alliance and its upcoming Healthcare Education and Career Conference. Important for all kinds of professionals, coders, billers, assistants, compliance officers, nurses. You've got CEUs available that they'll be able to get when they come to the conference. So talk a little bit about the price and what it includes and kind of what the day may look like, I guess.
We're very proud to say about the price because most of your CEU courses are in the hundreds of dollars for you to maintain your CEUs. We developed actually this biannual conference for the purpose of being able to bring people at very, very high levels in the speaking industry, in our industry, into Port St. Lucie to be able to present to local people so that they can get CEU credits. But the price is only $95. Actually, we have a lower price if you sign up in advance, but it's at the $95 rate now. But that includes lunch and breakfast, and it includes 6 CEU credits for all of those entities that you just talked about.
Wow.
And we do give you a certificate. You're not a certified coder, but we do give you a certificate.
Right.
The people that are certified are the ones that generally will come to this. These are more advanced type presentations that will affect the provider practices in the hospitals in future years. We try to always have really, really advanced, information for people that they can prepare for, like compliance and those types of things. We always have a theme. We also have connected, and we continue to, with the Hands Clinic of St. Lucie County.
Yeah, so this serves also as a fundraiser
that's
for
right.
the Hands Clinic.
It sure does, and
Okay.
we've had a wonderful turnouts to be able to really be a good partner with the Hands Clinic.
Okay. So again, Saturday, September the 24th, from 8 to 3. You can get more information on this at the www.pbatc. That basically stands for Premier Business Alliance Treasure Coast. So pbatc.org. So you can get more information there. You can always call CCTI or check our irscbiz.com site and get more information on it. CCTI is part of the day. We'll be around as folks come and go for the day. So again, it's been a great partnership. This is the 4th time you've done the event there in the Kite Center, I believe.
And it just keeps getting bigger.
And
It's
it just
been
keeps getting bigger.
fantastic.
Okay. Can you register for this at irscbiz.com? Is that on the site? I don't.
No, it is
okay.
on Exact Healthcare Solutions website.
Okay. What is that site?
That's www.exacthealthcaresolutions.com.
All right, got it. Okay, so with that, again, Derry, thank you so much. And again, just real quickly, you've got your the basic course we've been offering coming up October the first, and so you can get registered for that and get involved in medical coding. Derry, thank you so much for coming out again this evening. And I want to remind everyone that all the business assistance programs and resources discussed on this segment are available through IRSC's Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute, engaged at every stage of enterprise. For more information on the EDI, its programs, and a complete listing of upcoming business training events, please visit that irscbiz.com site. That's irscbiz.com. As always, I want to thank Greg and our partners here at WPSL, WSTU, and finally, WPSL TV.
Yeah, I'm sure Jack Hopkins just fell out of his chair during that one.
And
he's been working with us so long on this project.
That's right. Well, you have arrived, Greg, and I want to thank the SBDC at IRSC, and as always, thank Michelle Abaldo and her team at IRSC's Office of Institutional Advancement. And with that, we'll look forward to seeing all you healthcare providers at the Healthcare Education and Career Conference on Saturday, September the 24th, right there at the Kite Center on main campus. And with that, I'll talk to you next Thursday night right here on Startup Talk.
You have been watching Startup Talk on WPSL TV. Just go to WPSLTV.com and click on it, and we're there. WPSL Port St. Lucie, WSTU Stewart, Martin County's Heritage Station.